Vic, how you doing? All righty, we're going to wait a couple of seconds for people to start joining us. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. It is raining where we are, and I live about half hour, 45 minutes away from Yosemite National Park, so it is beautiful. But the weather can be very cold. Nader, there you are. What's up, my friend? Yeah, a couple of people have were telling me that there's a deletion of a zero. So I do want to talk about that here in just a moment. That and current events. I've been listening to this guy talk about all kinds of weird crap happening on airplanes, and it's just been recently, and it's within the last few months. Like you see your big head on the screen. That's McLovin for the. You guys can see his head. Yeah, that's McLovin. Anyways, his this guy has some good theories about what the hell is going on with these planes, and it's happening worldwide. You know what I mean? There's a lot of crap happening in the planes. Some news locally is talking about it. Some is not. Anyways, I posted a plethora of videos on Pimpy's News Network because for some reason YouTube does not like for us to post those types of videos. You're gonna have to get down. You're driving me freaking insane. Come on. For whatever reason, YouTube is not a fan of those videos. And you guys remember that what was her name? Tiffany G. Remember her? The one that wigged out on a plane and said that effort is not real. Yeah, yeah. So there's it's not just her. There's a ton of people, and there's a weird crap going on. Anyways, I posted all those videos on Pimpy's News Network, so feel free to go over there and check those out. They are very interesting. There's no deleting of the zeros. Yeah, but that rumor is going around, and as usual, Melanie Hines is one of the perpetrators spreading that rumor. Nader, that video that you and I had done had a lot of people checked it out, so it was really good. There's some good comments and bad comments as always, but you can't save everybody. When you try to talk about the Iraqi dinar, there are some people who are going to use common sense and understand what we're talking about versus those who like the fluff, like have the wand pulled out of your butt and sprinkle you know unicorn pixie dust on them. So there's nothing you can do about it, but it is what it is. So apparently somebody's saying that there's a deletion of the zero. And when I talk to people and I'm trying to explain the whole thing about the deletion of the zero, what it means, how it affects the Iraqi dinar, how it affects the exchange rate, people got to understand that even if it is just the deletion of 1 0, let me tell you what the problem is, okay? Even if they deleted 1 0, that means we have to exchange our current Iraqi dinar to get the new redenominated Iraqi dinar. And God only knows what kind of premiums they're going to charge us for this. And if they're going to delete just 1 0 off the Iraqi dinar, that means the exchange rate, in my opinion, is not going to increase very much. Not at all. Why would you just delete the 1 0? I get why, but most people won't. So, why delete 1 0, redenominate? If that's the case, then I don't anticipate them ever increasing the Iraqi dinar exchange rate very much. That's just my opinion. If you leave it where it is, why reinvent the wheel? Why create a new currency with a deletion of 1 0 and then turn around and delete the other 2 zeros later on? You know how costly that is? It's very, very costly. Adrian, we're saying, will I need a receipt for my dinar? I got them 20 years ago. You're not going to need a receipt for your dinar, but the only time you should be worried about a receipt for your dinar is if your dinar is less than a year old, because when you go to file taxes, it's going to make a difference between short-term investment versus long-term. Long-term is anything over a year. So it does make a difference on your taxes. So if you have only owned your Iraqi dinar for less than a year, then I hope you have the receipt. If you don't, reach out to the people that you bought it from. I'm sure they'll give you a new copy. Okay. Yeah, you don't need a receipt. You're fine. Look, I talked a long time ago. I did a video and I explained to people, what it is you got to do. Everybody's like, all these redemption centers, all these 800 numbers. No, I wouldn't trust any of that crap because God only knows who's behind it and what it is they are trying to do to Iraqi dinar. Like I remember more than once, I've had people go, "Come on, Pimpy, there's these people in Reno. Okay, what about them? They just need a list of all your dinar serial numbers, all the ones you have." And I was like, I don't feel comfortable about that. Later on, what you find out is a lot of these people are dealing with counterfeiters, and what they're doing is taking your serial number and putting it on the counterfeit dollars. So don't send anybody your crap. Now, I bank with Wells Fargo, and I said, if this should happen, let's say the sanctions are lifted, let's say you now start buying and you're selling Iraqi dinar. What do we do? My bank manager said, it's real simple. You come into the bank, wave me down so I can see you. I said, okay. You bring in your dinar. And I said, here's all my dinar. He goes, I got it. They'll check through their machine. They have a machine to check to see if it's counterfeit or not. I said, okay. He says, then depending on how much we got to give you is going to make a difference of when you have access to it. Now, if you only have enough for, let's say, 10, 20,000, maybe 80,000, then, we'll give you access to it right away. But if you have something that has millions of dollars, you obviously are not going to have access to millions right away. You'll have access to a pretty big chunk of it, but you have to give us a window of opportunity to make the exchange. I said, okay. He said the fees are really minimal. It's like I think it's 0.5% or 1% of all the exchanges, which is not bad. So he says, once you're done, let's say you are right, and let's say you have the 322 rate, and you have 5 million Iraqi dinars, and you're going to get millions of dollars. I said, He says, we validate that they're okay. We deposit the money in your bank. You're going to see the balance reflect the current exchange rate for the currency that you have, but you'll only have access to a small amount of it at first, but after about 30 days, you'll have access to all of it. And I was like, okay, what are the strings? He goes, just no strings whatsoever. But you best believe that if you're going to exchange currency in here, then you better file it on your taxes because they will come after you. And I said, not a problem. I just want to know how we do this if it goes the way we hope it does. So again, if the exchange rate happens to be a large one and they remove the sanctions, allowing our banks to deal with foreign currencies, because some banks are big enough to where they do sell a lot of foreign currencies or buy a lot of currencies, whatever it is, then those ones are going to have your money to, you have access to your money much quicker. But for people who live out in Boonesville, it's going to reflect in your bank the balance of the current US dollar value, not the Iraqi dinar, but the current US value, because you are swapping your dinars for US dollars. It will reflect in your bank account. However much it is, it doesn't make a difference. Whatever the exchange rate, he's saying, you just bring it in. There's like a 0.5% or 1%, depending on how much. That is your fees. You done your swap, and it'll be in your account. You'll see it reflecting there with the current balance. Once we run it through the machine and make sure that they're not counterfeit, okay, then that's it. If it's a large amount, if you're talking about in the millions, then it could take up to 30 days. I said, I don't have a problem with it. If that's what we're finding out, that indeed it is taking 30 days, I could wait another damn 30 days if they do give us the exchange rate of 322. So all this mumbly jumbly about you going in, there's a tier 1, there's a tier 2, you guys will collectively go, you'll negotiate a new rate. That's all bullshit, man. It is, okay? It's that simple. The issue with Iraqi dinar is it has sanctions on it. So a lot of banks won't deal with it because it really doesn't have any value right now. It costs too much money to deal with it. Now, there are some banks out there currently. The last I heard was Chase Bank will swap your dinar, but only at the current exchange rate of 1,320 dinars, okay? So if it does increase, just go to your bank. All this other crap about redemption centers and numbers on the back screen, and there's freaking unicorns shitting pixie dust everywhere, and if you stomp on it, you got magical powers. All that's bullshit. Okay. So I was explaining to people, and when I was talking to Nader, and a lot of people had good questions about it, and I love that. What's up, Ja? How you doing? Hi, Chella. Nice to see you here. So here's the thing: when it comes to um, the Iraqi dinar, the people were confused. Pimpy, why don't you want the 322 rate? I said, because this is my opinion, you guys. If they're going to delete the zeros and reinstate the rate, the first thing they're going to do is delete the zeros before you do the 322 rate. This is my opinion. Why, if I'm a country, why would I want to reinstate a rate or change my exchange rate when I have these currencies that are out there with all these zeros? It's going to be very costly to me. This will make inflation shoot up. You know what I mean? So that's why I was saying we really want it to go up in increments. Forget about the deletion of the zeros. The more it continues to climb in value against the currency we have, the more money we get back. That's why I was saying it's going to go up in increments. But if they're going to do a huge jump like that, I mean, just common sense. Let's pretend it's your money. And you did something to your money, and now you added zeros to it. And now you're asking yourself, what do I want to do? Do I want to change my exchange rate and pay for the dollars with all the zeros? Or do I want to change the nominal amount and redenominate the currencies, lower the number of digits on there from 25,000 down to 25, and then change the exchange rate? You know, that's just common sense. So we really want to keep the current currencies that we have, no deletions, not even one. If they do one, it's a pain in the ass to swap them and deal with them. We don't want them to do that. We want them to continue to grow up in increments, keep doing it against the currency that we have now. That's how you are going to get a lot more money, is doing it that way than the other way around, okay? Or a 25 bill with a new rate. Okay, I hear you, Ferrari. So let me ask you this. Let's say they do the new rate. Let's say they reinstate at 325 or 322, $3.22 for every Iraqi dinar. But first thing they do is delete the zeros, right? So your 25,000 dinar comes to 25 dinar, and then they reinstate the 322 rate. Do the math. How much would you have gotten between a 25,000 dinar versus a 25 dinar? You see the difference? If I have 5 million dinar, if they delete the zeros and then change the exchange rate, when it's all said and done, I'm going to have about 5,000. No, that's on the 101. I'm going to have, I think it's almost 15, just a little over $15,000 is what I'll get. Don't get me wrong, that's still a great return on my original investment. Do you see what I'm saying? But there's people out there who have already spent the money expecting the new exchange rate to be 322, which I keep telling people, don't do that. You guys, don't do it. Stay grounded. Because if you guys already in your head have spent the money, you guys got mansions and fancy cars, snorting coke off hookers' asses, man, I'm telling you, this is not the Wolf of Wall Street. You know what I mean? We want the exchange rate to continue to grow, increase in value slowly. If they can do a little quicker, that's fine. We want them to keep increasing the exchange rate before they delete the zeros. I don't care how many times that takes. I don't care how much, but do not delete the zeros until, do not delete the zeros. Just keep increasing the exchange rate. That's all we can hope for, okay? I hope that makes sense, because a lot of you got it, but there's a handful of you out there, no matter how many different ways I explain it, they are totally lost. You know, and somebody said, well, Pimpy, what happens if they reinstate the exchange rate, but leave the currency? Well, yes, we want them. Dear God, we all want that to happen. Reinstate the 322 rate with the current currency with all the zeros. We would love that. Oh, man, we would love that. I would be out there with the new mansion and a Ferrari. I don't know about the snoring coke off hookers. That's always a possibility. Depends on how happy I am. But you get where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? Think about the country. The inflation would shoot up sky high if they kept the zeros and reinstated the 322 rate. You guys got to remember when the 322 rate was there, it wasn't with the current currency. It was with the old currency. Okay? Very different situations. Yeah, you really want them to increase the value of the exchange rate against other currencies is what you want it to do before they delete the zeros. Okay? Yeah, which wasn't inflated is right. There you go, Chella. Yeah, so the old currency, I mean, later on it did become because Saddam Hussein got crazy printing money. But that's what is important when we're talking about the Iraqi dinar. And that's what I'm trying to explain to people. But people don't want to, I made videos educating people. I said, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to make videos explaining things to you guys so you guys will get it. A lot of you appreciate it, but there's some of you out there that just are not going to get it, man. You're just not going to get it. Okay, whether it's purposely, you're just acting ignorant about it, and you really want it to happen the other way, or you just don't get it, and that's fine. Look, it's not that easy. Okay, but the biggest issue for Iraq is trying to really balance out the economy so that they're not having to deal with hyperinflation like Zimbabwe. Okay, so you really got to be able to take steps in a way that doesn't cause inflation. If you increase the exchange rate or reinstate the exchange rate to $3.22 versus a new currency, yeah, that's going to crash your economy. People are going to go crazy. You're going to see inflation shoot through the roof, and then you have Zimbabwe all over. That's not going to happen. Okay, go up in increments. This is what I've been preaching about now for the longest time. Just let it go up slowly but surely. I know a lot of you have been waiting a long time. You're like, come on, Pimpy, man, I really want this money. I get it. But we want it to grow naturally, organically, that economy, while we still have the zeros on there and we see the exchange rate increasing 10% one time, maybe it increases 15% another. Somebody said, you said 15%, you know what that would be? And then they give me a number. I was like, no, that's not it. If you take 1,320 dinars for every dollar and you multiply that times 15%, it was nowhere near where this person had it. Okay? They're just small increments. That just makes sense to me. This is how you're able to monitor your economy as well as keep a close eye on your exchange rate. What the World Trade Organization wants is a stable exchange rate policy, a stable exchange rate program. So these people out there telling you they can't go into the World Trade Organization with a program rate. That's because they don't know what they're talking about. Okay? A program rate is the regime that they choose. Whether your currency is fixed, pegged, freely floating, or it's a dirty float, like a managed float. These are different types of programs. So when they say they don't need to have they can't get in there with the program exchange rate, I go, no, that's why I showed you guys from the World Trade Organization when it says clear as day. In order to be a member of the World Trade Organization, they must have a stable monetary program rate. That's when I was laughing because I knew people didn't know what a program rate was. You can tell by the way they're talking about it. Whether it's Deletion Man or Mark Z, I was like, yeah, he's saying. That's why I always laugh my ass off when they go, you can't go in there with the program rate. What they're mixing up is this. They are thinking you can't go in there with the current fixed exchange rate. Okay? I get that, although they can, but I get what they're saying. But they're thinking that's called a program rate. That's not a program rate. I mean, it is. It's a type of program rate. Okay? So to hear these guys talk sometimes, you can understand why I can't help but go behind them and really just smack them because it's like, you guys, why do you tell your listeners this? Why don't you just be honest? You don't know what you're talking about. You're all hoping for the same thing. And every time you hear good news, I get it. I absolutely get it. Hi, Diana. How you doing, sweetie? So, I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. Iraq is going in the right direction. They have managed to stay away from conflict. And they are reforming their banking sector, but not just the banking. Their accounting sector, they're doing a tax reform for all the tax crap that they got out of there. Before in the past, here's what it was. You have a group of people that are doing everything pretty much old school style. You know what I mean? Paper and pencil. It made it real easy for a lot of fraud, a lot of people to um, steal from the Iraqi people because everything was not electronic. But as reform came along, there was a lot of resistance, but they make change. The reason why you're seeing Iraq push so much reform their banking sector is they really want to get back on the SWIFT system because that's part of the situation in order for them to go into the World Trade Organization. You have to be on the SWIFT. You're doing international change. You're doing international trade. So they go hand in hand. They have to be on a SWIFT system. So I did a video showing you all the steps that Iraq needs to do in order to be back in the SWIFT system. At least I think I did. If not, I'll go back and check and I'll do one. And the other one was what Iraq needs to do to get back on the Forex, what they need to do to be on a World Trade Organization. There's a reason why I was showing you all this stuff so you guys know what to look for. Sure, every time they bring in new businesses, it's called foreign direct investments. When you have outside investors investing in Iraq, that's always a good thing. Every time they take a step to focus on just using their own currency without relying on US dollars, that's also a good step. Okay? These are steps taken to strengthen their currency, but also stabilize their exchange rate. The issue with the black market that they have, or the parallel market, is people are more willing to exchange the dinar for the US dollar. So what that does is you end up competing, the central bank does, with the fixed rate of 1,320 dinars, you're competing with the black market. And it causes two different exchange rates, all right? This is not good. When they do that, it devalues the Iraqi dinar because people are going to say, why do I want to go to the bank and get 1,320 dinars when I could go to the black market or the parallel market and get 1,550 dinars? That devalues the currency. I hope you guys see that. Does that make sense? You guys got any particular questions that you want to ask? Miss you too. I see you there. So the people that watch are people that need someone to hold their hand and sing happy birthday to them and talk about their cats. Oh my God, that's funny. Thank you, Chella. I appreciate that. Love your channel, by the way. Some of you guys got great channels. You know, it's so fancy and stuff. I go, it's just me over here by myself. I do all my editing. I have to do all the paperwork. I do all the research. But some of you guys got some really nice, fancy channels, and Chella definitely has one of them. Very fancy. Even watching Carl, you know, he's got an engineer. I was like, damn, I don't even have an engineer. You know, I had a team at one time, but the team cost me a freaking lot of money, and I was like, nah, I better wait. Michael Baker said, I just wanted to say hello and keep up the great work you do. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good evening, Lee. Hi, Nader. Hi, Mary. Ferrari boy. Everyone indicated, everyone medicated daily. I think a lot of people are medicating. Good Lord. So I put out a video explaining to people that, what's up, Jim? I ran into these two little kids, man, and it was really an eye opener for me. It was really heartbreaking. And I don't know if you guys seen the video, but I was in a store and I seen these two kids in handcuffs, and I was like, what? They're so little, so young. Why are they in handcuffs? And I walked over and I couldn't help it. I said, why are you guys in handcuffs? And the kids say, well, we stole. I said, stole what? They go, like, food. I said, for what? Well, they're hungry. I said, where the hell are your parents? They leave for days at a time. I'm guessing because where they are stationed at, or I should say where they live at, is by a creek where a lot of homeless people live there. And the kids are being left there by their parents. My guess is that they're tweakers and they're out running around getting drugs. But I told the manager, and the police officers, look, the handcuffs are just trying to scare them. I said, I get that. And I told the manager, look, whatever they stole, I'll pay for it. Just take them damn handcuffs off, please. And they said, we can do that. And the manager's like, I don't have a problem with that. So I took the kids around. I bought them food. But when I took them back to the house or where they were staying, I won't say the house. Well, I'm going to tell you this: I wasn't impressed by the way they put it together. But it's. I told the boys eat as much as possible while I'm there. I want to keep an eye on them. You know what I mean? I really want to keep an eye on them just to make sure because people saw us walk in with food bags. As soon as I leave, you know what's going to happen. These people are going to come and take the kids' food because there's nobody there to protect them. So I told them to hide as much of the food as possible, but leave some in the bag. Man, I'm amazed at hiding places these kids come up with. So they stashed a good chunk of the food. And I said, leave some in the bag. And there's a reason for that. As soon as I leave, these people are going to come in and try to take your food. They go, yeah, we get it. They do it before, or they've done it before. I said, okay, just tell them all you have is what's in the bag. Let them take it. But you guys, when you're hungry, reach in these hiding spots and eat your food. And when I walked there, there's so many people there. So many people, homeless people. My heart's just freaking breaking. So when I got back home, I said, I just go about my day. I couldn't sit there and babysit them all day. I mean, I have no idea when the parents even come back. So I left. I left the kids there, and it was weighing on my mind for a while, but there's nothing I could do about it. And so I kind of went about my day just doing whatever. As the night came, I started to watch documentary on. Everybody knows I love Mr. Beast. All right, I love that guy. What he does for people is unbelievable. And I got people that go, well, he just likes clicks and views. Yeah, that's the whole purpose. Then he turns around and he takes the same damn money that you give him, that he earns, and gives it back. He doesn't have any money. You guys got to watch the documentary when his account goes, he has no money because everything he gets he puts back into his videos, the sets, or he gives it away. And he's got another YouTube channel now where he goes around doing things for people all over. And I said, and people heard me say this. They go, well, how rich do you want to be, Pimpy? I said, I want to be Mr. Beast rich. I want to be so rich that I can go around doing these random acts of kindness. And if you guys don't know who Mr. Beast is, you really got to watch him. He's done some remarkable things for people. One of the things I like was he bought a house. They furnished it with everything new, and they called 3 pizza people for delivery. The first one that got there, when they got there, they gave them the house. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm going to work and I'm working at a pizza place, and I'm like, I got to go make a delivery, and you pull up to the house, the last thing that you're thinking is, man, I'm going to get this house. No, you're like, if I get like $5 tip, I'll be happy. That's not what happened. He gave them the house. They gave the house. That's the kind of crap that Mr. Beast does. So I appreciate him for that. I appreciate him for who he is. So it got me thinking, you know what? I want to do something for our community. I'm going to start locally. And if you guys watch the video, like I said, I went down to the food bank. We talked, and I cannot believe the red tape crap you have to go through. Man, it's unbelievable. It really is. It's annoying, the crap you got to go through. So I'm supposed to be talking to the fairgrounds people here pretty soon. My goal is to try to come up as closely as possible with at least 5,000 meals. I think there's going to be more that's needed, but that's our initial goal. So hopefully we achieve this. I know cattle ranchers, I know turkey ranchers, I know chicken ranchers, I know people that grow, for our, what do you call it, farmers market. They grow a lot of vegetables. So I'm trying to get us all together and figure out how to make a meal box for the families, whether they need it or not, because every little bit helps. Not that I want to give you guys a mushy story, but that's what happened. And once I see these kids, I really just, there's no reason for people to be homeless and hungry. There's just no excuse for it. But unfortunately, that's a reality here in the United States. And so, anyways, not that I want to give you guys blow your whole mood tonight, but that's what I was. Once I helped these kids, they just really gave me a different perspective on life. So Mark has been telling people they're going to get 90,000 per 25 billion. 90,000 per 25 billion. Why does that seem way lopsided? There was a video I watched, and I'll shoot it for you guys to see. They were these guys said, what happens if you go to Vietnam and you have a billion, would it be Iraqi dinar? Would it get you? Now that's about $40,000, but you should have seen some of these resorts they were staying in. The resort's about 200 million. I was like, Lord, I have like have about 5 million Vietnam dong, man. Maybe I'll exchange it, go over there and exchange it for a couple nights at these resorts. So, I was just kidding, but I'll show you guys. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's amazing what you can get over there. I think he meant 25. Oh, the 25,000 dinar, 90. How, these guys. Here's the thing. You really need to start calling these guys to the mat, saying, where are you getting this information from? Where's it coming from? How did you come up with that? Do you see what I'm saying? There are people out there that, will repeat the news. That's fine. If they give their opinion, that's fine. But these people, there are people out there that don't purposely mislead others. Chella is a perfect example. Sorry, Chella, bringing it up. She explains to people what's going on out there, but she isn't misleading you. She isn't like, hey, tomorrow the back screens and the exchange rate. No, don't. That's it's not necessary. But these people feel they do because as long as they keep everybody on a string, their subscriptions stay up. They get a lot of money. I get it. I get it. But the difference between men and them is I had a chance to sell out. Oh yeah, man, are you kidding me? When I was working with for those of you who don't know, when I used to do the Nasera Jacera, I had the big dog himself asking me to join his team, which was can't think of his name for some reason. The bald dude, I'm talking about. Doing this Nasera Jacera is really big. The funny thing is he's on these news channels and stuff. I'm like, good Lord, Charlie Ward, there you go. So Charlie Ward, he did his video with a guy named Jack, and Jack was trying to explain to him what Nasera Jacera was. And Jack said, man, you got to listen to this guy named Pimpy. He's brilliant. The funny thing is, I'm acquainted with him in different types of industries when it comes to oil sales, so I kind of knew who he was. But we started talking to one another. I explained to him about the whole Nasera Jacera. Now look what happened. My friend said, well, it's your fault. You created the monster. And I was like, I didn't create that bullshit. But he wanted me to join his team. And at the time, they were making, oh my God, like 88,000 per week. I was like, yeah, man, don't get me wrong. I could use it, but no, that's not me, dude. It's against my nature, man. It really is. I kid you not. I can't be that person. I have opportunities to do it. Look, if you guys want people blowing smoke up your ass, I'm the man. I can do it all day long. I can make you guys feel as high as possible off opium. Why? It doesn't do anything. It's being a fraud. You know what I mean? It's just all bullshit. Yeah, he's a fraud. There you go. It's not okay. People are going, I don't have any faith in this investment anymore. Why? Because you have emotionally been up, down, and now you're just exhausted. You know what I mean? And then you're sour about it. Then you say, this is never going to happen. You know what I mean? It's like, it will, but not the way you're being told. So that's why it's important to be grounded and realistic. Contact International River, Life Missions in Honolulu, ask for Pastor. Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks, Ja. I will do that. I will. I will reach out to the pastor. Look, if anybody that has knowledge about that, how to go about this and do it the right way, is something I want to do. And so, people are like, are you going to film it? Yeah. Yes. Look, before I used to be this like other people. I was only doing it for this and that, but now I get it. I'm older. I'm wiser. I get it. I get the purpose of it. If you can create content and you can make millions off it, and he's turned around, and he's not keeping it for himself. He's a very modest guy. Turn around and give that money back. That's the greatest feeling in the world. Nothing is more satisfying than being able to change the lives of people. I told this story. I have a friend, he had like over 400 million in the bank. And I was just like staring at him. He's like, what? And I go, it's crazy to know that you could randomly walk down the street and just give anybody $1 million and it wouldn't do shit to your bank account. But it would absolutely change the life of that individual. He said, what, do you need $1 million? I was like, no, not me. I'm just saying, back then I had a ton of money, but I was like, no, I don't need it. But don't get me wrong, I would love to have it, but no, I didn't tell him that. No, I didn't need it. I was fine. But to have that much, not just money, but power, where you could feed a lot of the hungry, you can house people that are living on the streets. He has that ability to do it. And I kept thinking, are you ever going to spend all this money in your lifetime? I don't think so. But that was just I didn't ask him that, but that's what was going through my mind. And he was a person who lived modestly. You know what I mean? He didn't get crazy. He had a modest house. It was very guarded, but very modest car. He wasn't getting crazy with his money. And I thought, he's never going to spend this in his lifetime. But that doesn't mean I know what his future plans are. Maybe he plans on giving it away. I don't know. But to be able to do that, walk down the street and randomly change the life of an individual is crazy. I don't know if you ever heard the story about that multi-billionaire. He's like the world, at the time, he's like the world's richest person. And he owned this 40 million or $140 million mansion in Hawaii. And he randomly gave it to this lady that was cleaning houses, her and her 3 kids. She was a single mother. Not only did he give her the house, well, it's his. He gave it to her as long as she needed it. They can live there. But they paid, no, he gave her the house because I remember he paid property taxes. All the food at a grocery store, they just go there, pick it up. All the property taxes, all the utilities, he paid for it all. They didn't need anything. But he's a billionaire. But he changed the lives of this family. That's what we need to do. If we are blessed and we're doing really good, we need to come back together as a community. Not that I want to sit here and preach to you guys. I know you guys don't want to hear that crap, but I'm just saying to you, I used to know my neighbors growing up. I don't know my neighbors now. I know my neighbor right here to the side of me. It's like one of my best friends, but the rest of the people here, I don't know them. What happened to those days? Kids are outside playing. They're not worried about anybody kidnapping them, crap like that. Hot summer days, sprinklers, block parties. That stuff's kind of gone away, and it really sucks. Oh, what's that? Jermaine Trust Mark has 40 zeros. Good Lord, there's not that much money in the world. There's not that much money in the world. Are you willing to call out Wolverine, TNT, Tony, Bruce, Bev, and so many other so-called gurus that are lying to the people pretending to RV who and what they know? If so, let's talk privately. I'm willing to call out all of them because they're all full of shit. Nobody in the Dinar community, and I'm not trying to offend people, you're not going to find any of them who are going to want to come up against me and talk. I can have a debate. We can have an open discussion about it, but they're not going to do it. You know what I mean? It's very rare to find a content creator that has a background in this stuff and has an idea of what they're talking about. Before I used to talk about, yeah, this is good news. I wanted people to feel good about it. But I was like, it's not that simple. But I don't want to say that because I don't want to discourage people. But as time went along, I go, these people keep lying to their listeners, and it's not a good thing. It's not at all. It's really emotionally draining. But yeah, J Boy, if you want to talk, let's talk. I mean, just down below in my description, I usually have a link to my Facebook group, or you can see my profile on there. Just hit me up the private messages. We can talk. I'm willing to call out all of them. Okay, Tony, I seen TNT Tony one time. This is my one experience with him. Ready? This guy comes on, he goes, hey, look at the money that you give us. We're going to build a church. And I was like, oh, this is good. He's going to build a church. He's like, I really want, this is what we're going to do. When I recognize we're going to build churches, we're going to save lives. And I was like, good. This positive. Sounded positive. He goes, but you guys could donate to us now. He said, how much does a soul mean to you? How much is a soul worth saving? Is it $10? Is it $25? Is it $50? I was like, wait, whoa, huh? He's like, yeah. So if you want to save souls, let's start saving souls now. $20 will save a soul. $50 will save a soul. I was like, whoa. No, that kind of crap right there. I was like, no, that just turned me off about him. See, I've been listening to you for 5 years plus. I started listening to Charlie Ward maybe a year after. You do a beautiful job separating the real from the fake. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's the dough. Been locked in with you now. Been locked in with you and no one else. Oh, I really appreciate that, man. I really do. Look, I do appreciate the people who listen to my channel. Everybody has an option to go somewhere else. And as a matter of fact, I do encourage people to go listen to others. I do. I go, no, look, I have a Facebook group and all the content creators are in there. I allow them to post in there. They're in there talking shit about me. It's fine. For me, it is as much information to those who are interested as possible. Whether you like me or don't like me or like the other people, that's not what it's about. But from there, you should be able to get discernment. You should be able to hear the content creators and go, that person's full of crap and these ones are not. Pimpy is definitely grounded. And you heard when me and Carl do a video together, Currency with the Twist, he'll tell you that his family's been following me for a long time. And he said, man, when I listen to Pimpy, though, it used to piss me off. Do you realize what he's saying is accurate, but it still makes you mad because you're like counting on this and in your mind, you've already spent the money. I go, I understand it big time, man. I do. What does it say here? You keep people grounded as much as possible. So Josh says, I think they've been called out many times. Yes. I've called out tons of them. Look, I'll listen to your channel, and if I feel, in my opinion, that you're purposely going out of your way, because don't get me wrong, there's some of them out there, they don't get it. And so they're going to regurgitate what other people say. You know what I mean? I get that. But they're not going to admit it to you. They don't know how to explain it to you. I can't tell you how many times when I want personal conversations, and I say, how did you come up with that? And they'll try to explain it to me. And they go, well, that's just what I heard from so-and-so. I go, so that's not your opinion. Although in your video, it is your opinion, but it's not your opinion. You're just regurgitating what other people say. So they don't know. They don't know the process. They don't know how currencies move. They don't understand what a country has to go through to make a decision whether to delete the zeros or whether to change their exchange rate. They have no clue whatsoever. Now, look, I know something about it, but even I don't have all the ins and outs about it. I mean, it's very detailed and very hard to do a video, explain it to people in such detail because the attention span of most people is about this big. So, you're trying to explain. That's why a lot of times when I'm answering questions, I do it vaguely, but there's a part of me going, man, we need to be more detailed than that. And I go, you can't. I made long videos, and you look at the average time people spend on them, they just get bored. It's beyond them. They don't understand it. And I'm not saying people are dumb. They work their ass off all day long. They come home, they got to cook for them and their kids or whatever. The last thing they want to do is go to class on Pimpy's videos. You know what I mean? They just want to hear the news and hopefully it's good. Okay? Hope that makes sense. What's that? Where we go one, we go all. Yeah, see that. Now, I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying about Sarah. I support the principles behind it. And I have a small list of things that people were saying they want to change. I support that 100%. I don't support all the kooky stories about Trump still being president, black hats, white hats, clones, all that crap. I don't, even if it was true, let's just say it is true. Let's say it's true. The last thing you want to do when you're trying to get people to understand what's going on, you don't want to hit them with, dude, everybody's a clone. You're not going to get them to support your cause. You know what I mean? So just start off with the things that matter most. Do you think the U.S. Treasury will allow Iraq to delete the zeros before change in the rate? I'm sure they have billions of 25 and 50K notes. Who's that? The United States? We have no idea how much they have. I've seen somebody make a claim that they had 4 billion. 4 billion. And they have agreed upon exchange rate of 4-1. There's $4 for every one Iraqi dinar. But you understand that's between our government and their government. That's not us. It's like when I told everybody that story about the 12-1 exchange rate. Everybody's like, Pimpy says 12-1. I go, no, there is a 12-1 exchange rate that's out there. It's part of the law. Okay? What was not explained is how come the public didn't have access to that? But that's not what they heard. They heard Pimpy says 12-1. And I was like, you got to hear what I'm saying. There is a law. It is 12-1. But there's reasons why the public didn't have access to the exchange rate. And I explained it in another video. I would love to have that rate, man. Are you kidding me? I'm sure all of you guys would, okay? Look, even if they delete the zeros and gave me 12-1 exchange rate, I will take it. That's a pretty big chunk of change. Pimpy, can you be wrong? No. I could be slightly off, but no. I said that the other day. I was on, Kyle was doing a live video and I was commenting on there and I was asking him, I could have swore I read something where it said the performances for 10 years was between the S&P 500 and the gold. It was like 5% and 7%. And that gold had outperformed them? And he said, no. And they showed me that it didn't happen. And the guy's like, so that's not right. I was like, oh, Pimpy's wrong. Oh, trust me, man. When people were waiting, I swear every day, people are like, sooner or later, somebody's going to find out Pimpy's wrong about something and they're going to jump all over it. And as soon as I was like, okay, so I misread something, I was wrong. Whoop, they jumped all over it. Now, it's funny. I get it. People are being silly about it. But at the same time, don't get me wrong. There are people out there because the next day, yeah, militiaman going, well, some people aren't reading something right and they get something wrong. I was like, shut up, idiot. Jeez. The only thing I got wrong was the exchange rate on which side was who. So 12 dinars for every dollar, or was it $12 for every dinar? That was the only thing. But trust me, people are hoping so they have something to cling on to and go, you're not always right. So yes, Pimpy could be wrong, man. What's your honest opinion on Roseanne Barr? She's the first person I remember talking about Q and these so-called conspiracies. The cool thing about Roseanne Barr is this: she comes from Hollywood. She has an understanding about a lot of crap that goes on there, and people don't realize this, but this isn't the first time that Roseanne Barr has been spilling the beans. When she was at the height of her career, she was already telling people the truth about what was going on in Hollywood a long time ago. So as far as her conspiracies are concerned, I mean, if she believes it, then it's kind of hard not to believe what she's saying. Okay. Let me just put it this way. I like Roseanne Barr. She's a very brave person. She is. As far as all these other subjects that people are speaking on, there's a possibility that she believes it because of the people she's talking to. She finds credible. So in her mind, she might believe some of them are right, whether you do or don't. But the problem with the news and the problem with Hollywood and the problems with the movies, the problems with everything that we rely on as a reliable source, we know now is just shit. Come on now, we know it is. So what do you have it to compare to? The media would just say, well, there's a conspiracy. Remember that MK Ultra? That's not real. Remember that? And then all of a sudden the government comes out and goes, oh, it is real. Okay. Well, that's the same with everything, whether it's the jab, whether it's wars that we're in, you can't trust them. Remember that weapons of mass destruction? That's why we're in Iraq. And later on it goes, oh, we were wrong. No, it's not they were wrong. They were pushing an agenda. That's what they're there for. They get paid to push an agenda. So since we don't have a credible source, it makes it really hard to try to decipher between what is and isn't real. I hope that makes sense. What about the 5G voices? Yeah, actually, these videos I just released on Pimpy's News Network, I really do think that see, some people call it the voice of skull, but I know it from my friend as the voice of God. That's what it's called. It's a machine that they use where they can make you feel like you're hearing things or hearing voices. And that's why when all these school shootings were happening and people are going, I keep hearing these voices. And I go, I wouldn't put it past our government who's trying to find a way to take our assault weapons from us, our weapons, not assault weapons, no assault weapons, but to disarm America, to push these agendas, to get inside kids' head, to force them to go crazy, to grab a gun and shoot people. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying they're doing it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if all of a sudden in the news it comes out that that's what was going on, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, what a shock. I wouldn't be shocked, not at all, unfortunately. Eminem has a Patreon to sell you stuff free on Dinar recaps. Yeah, more power to him. The reason why I have Pimpy's News Network is, I put that there in case they try to take down the channel again. At least there you can go there and get information. But I'm able to talk about subjects over there that I can't talk on YouTube. And the whole issue with the planes recently, they don't like you talking about that. So I put it over on Pimpy's News Network. And it's been fascinating to listen to, that's for sure. My friend lives around the block from the Chinese theater in Hollywood. She says Scientology took it over. Yeah, the last time I was over there, I seen it's called the Chinese Man Theater. Did it really Scientology bought that? That's such a landmark, man. But when I was there, they had a huge building over there. Yeah, and they're in the perfect place. I mean, they're in Hollywood of all places. I'm vaccinated and I'm fine. Good. Look, some people came through and they're doing fine. But here's a question for you, Ferrari boy. You have to ask yourself, why is it that people like Klaus Schwab and a lot of high-ranking people within the World Economic Forum are asking for pilots who have not been vaccinated? Why specifically non-vaccinated pilots? Which is weird. You don't think so? I mean, you could Google it and see it. It's just weird. MK Ultra, of course they do. Now, I actually lived when I was growing up as a kid. I lived next to a lady that went through the MK Ultra program, and she's getting us free money from the government. And she was explaining it to me. But I was actually a teenager. But as a teenager, I'm like, man, you must be freaking off your fucking rocker. Excuse the cuss word, but off your damn rocker. Really, that's what I was thinking. This lady's kooky. But as I got older, she wasn't kooky. She was being honest. Unfortunately, it was, people have been through that crap. It's unfortunate, but it's a real thing. 3 surgeons and doctors. Not one said not to get vaccinated. Well, I have information that you're more than welcome to share with them, because you see, if you guys remember, I used to do the Doc and Pimpy show. Doc was a person who used to work in laboratories for vaccinations, the first 2 stages. And his background is in medical. And he's like, Pimpy, it's in your head, dude. These conspiracies, you got to let them go. Then I gave him some documentation. Literally hung up on the phone with me, called his family. I was like, what happened? Called me back about 45 minutes later. I said, what happened? He goes, I had to call my family real quick and tell them not to move forward with the jabs. I said, why? What are we looking at? And the information that I gave him was proof not to get it. So whatever information I got, I still got it. I'd be more than happy to send it to you. You could share with your family, but it absolutely changed his mind. And now he's I don't know what they call it, anti-jabbers or anti-vaxxers, which is bullshit. There's reason to be concerned about the way it was handled, in my opinion. I hear you. Yeah. So, anyways, you guys, I just wanted to jump on and say hi to everybody real quick, answer any questions that you might have about the Dinars. As far as all these conspiracy things, it's really hard to tell what is and isn't true. There's things out there that seem so far-fetched. You're like, there's no way in hell, man. This sounds crazy. Then all of a sudden later on, you find out that it was true, and you're like, what? So again, the media is not your friend. The government is not your friend. The WHO organization is not your friend. The CDC is not your friend. All right? Just keep that in mind. Anyways, that's it for now. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will catch you later. I'm out. Bye, everybody.